Now here's the man that needs no introduction.
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
I've always wanted to do this.
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
What's your connection to Parkinson's disease?
Hey everybody, it's Jim here.
Sorry, that's my foot.
I'll do better next time.
Hey everybody, it's Jim here. Welcome back to the Spinning Wheels Parkinson's Conversation with Jim here podcast. I'm Jim. I'm here on location in beautiful Toronto, Ontario. Today, I am so grateful and so excited for the guest we have today. Really a true leader in the Canadian and North American and worldwide Parkinson's community. I had the pleasure of meeting him while we were coming across the country on the Spinning Wheels tour, and then I had the pleasure of meeting him again when we were in Barcelona. Founder of U-turn Parkinson's in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Winner of season 1 of the Amazing Race Canada, author, public speaker, good-looking guy. Anything we can say about
Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Jim. It's good to be here this morning. My head's not going to fit in the screen if you don't stop.
Anyway, it's Tim Hague Sr., everybody.
It's a pleasure, Jim. Thank you so much.
Tim, tell us, if you can, about your Parkinson's journey so far.
Oh my.
Ah.
Well, the brief story is that I continue to be one of the healthiest guys I know with Parkinson's. I look around the world and I am amazed at how, if I have to have a disease and have to walk along with other folks, I've been blessed to have lots of people like you to walk with. Wonderful folks who are encouraging and positive. And my disease just isn't as bad as lots. There's so many folks out there who are suffering with this way more than I am. And I am grateful for their inspiration and thankful, just thankful that I'm not as bad as I could be. It's been 12 years so far, and I'm in line now for DBS this next year sometime. I'm anticipating that sometime at the beginning of the year, but otherwise, I don't like my Parkinson's. It's not fun. It's not great to have, but it could be far worse.
You're very positive. When you were diagnosed, were you this positive, or did it take you a while to get here?
I was arrogant when I was diagnosed. Arrogantly positive that I was going to set the tone. I was going to tell Parkinson's who was boss. It wasn't going to define my life. And I've come to not really like that term because I find Parkinson's does define my life no matter what I do, no matter how positive I stay. It took my job away from me. I'm no longer a nurse. That's a definition of my life. It put me on the Amazing Race Canada. I had no say in that part of it, right? It defined my life. So Parkinson's has in many ways defined me, but it doesn't define me, right? I know who I am. And in the beginning, I was very arrogant and just saying that I was going to make life happen the way I wanted it to happen. And so I started off very positive, extremely positive, but from an arrogant kind of position, I would dare say. And today I think I'm a little more balanced. I've gone through the dark side a bit and come out, and we'll just say more balanced in my approach.
When I first was diagnosed, it was like, okay, I think I'm going to be the guy to beat Parkinson's. Right? It's not going to get me. I will dictate to it what's going to happen.
Yeah, it takes its pound of flesh, doesn't it?
It really does. But it does define me a little bit.
Yeah, I am Tim with Parkinson's, not Parkinson's doesn't have Tim.
Well, 12 years ago, when you were first diagnosed, did you ever think you would have accomplished what you have in your life?
No. Parkinson's has brought so much good into my world. It's unbelievable. Like I can't begin to stop and be thankful enough for all that Parkinson's has brought me. The Amazing Race, for starters, and that just opened the door so wide for Parkinson's advocacy and speaking and writing a book and, all of it. And it's also given me the opportunity to persevere, right? Like I wrote in the book, to learn to walk through the dark valleys and still come out the other side, maybe not smelling like roses, but having survived and accomplished way more than I thought I would. I would have never been able to imagine what Parkinson's was going to do.
Everyone knows you were the winner of the Amazing Race Canada season 1. What kind of toll did Parkinson's take on it? Because you were 2 years into your diagnosis at that point, weren't you?
Yeah, that's a tough question to answer now, because if you'd asked me that then, I would have told you it had a huge toll on it. That it was a significant issue, that I struggled with it every day. And yet I look back now on it and I'm like, that was a cakewalk. Compared to today, that was nothing. I mean, my goodness, I did my med challenge for yes here recently, and I was off my meds for 12 hours. No way I could have driven myself anywhere that day. No way I could have done most things that I do, and I certainly couldn't have run the race, because when I ran the race, I wasn't on any meds. I hadn't started my medication yet. So to see the juxtaposition of where was at then and where I'm at now, wow.
What has winning the Amazing Race Season 1 in Canada? What did that open up for you when you talked about advocacy?
Well, everything. I suddenly found myself, on stage at the World Parkinson's Congress in 2013 in Montreal, speaking to 3,000 people, and that changed my life. I've literally spoken around the world because of that 5 minutes. People have called me from all over North America and beyond, saying, "We saw you in Montreal. Can you come speak to our group?" And so from there, that led to the book, and I posted yesterday, "The Beat Goes On." Last weekend, I was in Tyler, Texas, for a group of 275 folks impacted by Parkinson's disease with Courage Health. And a couple weeks, I'll be down in Michigan.
Do you do anything differently now in terms of your Parkinson's when you are speaking in front of people?
Yeah, I make sure there's a few things I do differently. I make sure I'm well medicated, for one. And two, I used to sit around and try to make sure I was well rested before I went up. And I still make sure I'm well rested, but I will get up and I will do some calisthenics, some jumping jacks, some push-ups, some stuff to get the blood flowing. And it seems to make my head work better when I'm up there, because fogginess and slowness of mind and all of that with Parkinson's, that's just a real issue sometimes speaking. And so I started doing some stuff like that beforehand, and it seems to make a big difference.
Tell us about the book. When did you think you were going to start writing the book?
Oh, wow, that goes back a long ways, I guess. I had always I was adopted, and then so there was a whole other story there that I've woven into the book a little bit, that I always thought would be cool to write about. So when the race happened, not long after it, I probably started thinking about when things really hit from a speaking standpoint. Then I started looking at, okay, how do you make this successful, if at all possible, right? And one of the two things they said you need to do if you're going to be a professional speaker: get a website and write a book. Well, I had been mulling that book over for a while, and now I've got this race story to tell. So we started working on it, and it took a long time, but eventually got it done.
You founded U-turn Parkinson's in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Can you tell everybody who isn't aware about U-turn Parkinson's just what exactly it is?
Absolutely. U-turn is a Parkinson's specific wellness center that I launched back in 2016, simply out of the need for exercise. Everywhere I turned, everyone I talked to said, after taking your meds, the next best thing you can do for yourself is exercise. But there was nobody offering Parkinson's specific exercise anywhere that I could find. So I said, okay, we got to do something about this. I had been a nurse for a lot of years, right? So what do nurses do? Nurses tend to be doers. So I went and did something. We started, and I thought I'd run a couple classes, and offer something for folks here, and never did I dream of starting a small business. 7 years later, and we're running a small business.
How many classes do you offer a week?
We're doing, I believe it's 11 now a week, and this is in person and live online.
And you also organize a once a year walk. And I think there's a beer and chicken wings thing that happens as well.
That's kind of one of our signature fundraisers. That my kids started, actually. We call it Winging It for Parkinson's. And it's a beer and wing eating contest where, if you can imagine, you've got, say, 10 teams of 5 people each, and you line them up down here. And down here, you've got tables set up with 5 plates with 5 chicken wings on each plate, and then an 8-ounce glass of beer or fizzy drink. And then it's just a relay. You say go, number one goes down, has to clean up their chicken wings to the bone, clean. drink their 8 ounces of beer or fizzy drink and back, and fastest time moves on. And we do 3 heats generally, and the fastest team is crowned winging it champions. But the big goal is to raise money for Parkinson's, right? So this year we raised just short of $20,000.
That's pretty impressive. When we came through Winnipeg last year, your daughter was getting married that weekend. We came in.
And here's the ever popular segment, Jim's Spinning Wheels Tour Flashback.
We came in on a Friday. We arranged a TV interview. You were down there at the park, giving us some U-turn Parkinson cycling jerseys. And then we went for a ride together and had something to eat. We got to meet a lot of people who take your classes. And then later on in the evening, we went back for a boxing class. It was led by your daughter, I think. It was so impressive. The whole U-turn experience was just such a great part of the spinning wheels. And then I really got to talk to you and meet you in person. I was really appreciative of that. So just wanted to say thank you for being part of that.
Well, you're very welcome. We were very happy to be a part of Spinning Wheels. It was a great opportunity.
When did the PD Avengers come into play?
PD Avengers came into play after Portland, right? No, after Japan. Oh my memory. But there was a group of us. There was a group of us at the World Parkinson's Congress. Again, another meaningful moment at World Parkinson's Congress. A bunch of young onset Parkinson's folks came together and said, you know what? There's an awful lot of us. This is the first time we've ever been in a group this size at World Parkinson's Congress. There's more people with young onset showing up. Why aren't we doing more for this group and promoting our needs? And so we started talking, and out of that spun this group called PD Avengers. It was incredible. A group of us, about 15, got together and started talking. And as we sat around talking, somebody says, we sound like we're trying to be a bunch of superheroes. And everybody laughed. And somebody else said, yeah, kind of like the Avengers. And somebody else says, yeah, we're the Parkinson's Avengers or the PD Avengers. And everybody's laughing and hooting and hollering, but they're stuck the name, right? And from then on, we were called the PD Avengers. Since then, added to our name, we're officially the Global Alliance to End Parkinson's Disease, known as the PD Avengers. But our goal is to be just a global group of people with Parkinson's, our family and friends, sitting together demanding change in how Parkinson's is seen and treated. And there's so much that isn't being done for Parkinson's around the world that desperately needs attention, whether that be from a wellness standpoint or an advocacy standpoint or from a research standpoint. There's so much more that needs to be done. So we need folks to become PD Avengers. You go to pdavengers.com. You can get all the information there and sign up to join us and to advocate and fight on behalf of Parkinson's around the world. Larry Gifford, our president and co-founder of PD Avengers, he and I are both in line for DBS. And so after going through our med challenge, we were talking about the fact that isn't it amazing that only 30% of the people on the planet who have Parkinson's have access to levodopa? Let that number sink in. 30% of the people on the planet who have Parkinson's have access to levodopa. They say there are 10 million of us on the planet. So 3 million of us have access, 7 million do not. I cannot imagine what it would be like living with this disease with no medication.
You just talked about that DBS challenge where you don't, you're off your medication. Having that be your regular life would be so challenging.
It'd be simply horrible. It'd be just simply horrible. So that's one of the things that we're doing with PD Avengers is that we're looking at medication equity. Right now, we're looking at Africa and seeing how there are ways that we can get medication into Africa for those countries that don't have any access.
I'm a PD Avenger, and so is Mike. We'll put a link up in the description of the podcast to get everybody to pdavengers.org, and hopefully we can get some more people signing up.
We at Spinning Wheels Parkinson's Conversations with Jim here regret to inform you that we have gone over the self-imposed episode running time of 15 minutes. Please click on the link to Part B as we pick up the conversation where we left off. Thank you.
Everybody would like to really thank Tim Hague Sr. for coming on the Spinning Wheels
Parkinson's Conversation with Jim here podcast. What an incredible story. What an incredible journey that Tim brought us along on, right? From first being diagnosed and being a nurse to having to give that up to going on the Amazing Race Canada and winning to becoming an author, starting U-turn Parkinson's in Winnipeg, Manitoba, to being a co-founder of the PD Avengers, and him, at the beginning not having any idea of where his life was going to go when he was first diagnosed. What a journey, again. And you know what? The message of being thankful for what Parkinson's has brought to his life. What a positive message that he's sending. And he's not done, right? U-turn Parkinson's not done expanding. PD Avengers not done making a difference. Tim Hague will be around for a long time. We wish him well with his DBS surgery coming up in the new year. So thanks, Tim. Hey, if you could just do one thing for us, and that would be to share this episode with just one other person, someone who you think might need it, someone who you think might just enjoy it. We would sincerely appreciate that. So until next time, be safe, everybody. We'll see you soon.
His first comments was, "It tastes awful." And, that maybe that works for cough syrup, but it shouldn't be the case for tea. So PDT tastes nice.